So we're going to do the locking set, Eskrido Abecedario. And you just strike one, and the first one's the bicep thingy. So we go block and check, armpit, block and check, armpit, palm up, pressure down. Two, block and check, step in. So a lot of these will have a step on them. That's something different than the disarming set, is that we're almost always stepping into a different range and we're doing the block from, as opposed to going into the disarm from where we're standing. And this particular drill is almost always, there's a lot of forward motion in it. Yeah. So, elbow locks. That says just a squish, you're trying to break the ribs or hurt or injure the arm. Just again, that can also be turned into all these can be disarms or throws. Depends on how we're approaching it. Six. Yeah. 6 and 7 are both chokes, so that's a way to remember that. This one is coming up, the palm up on this shoulder here, and then coming across and grabbing the other side, and then squishing the forearms into the neck. And actually, this one goes, the top arm goes over, not like 8, the opposite of 8. So let's do that one more time, since I did say they were the same before. 7, yeah.
7, sorry.
So, palm up. This one shoots over the. I guess. No, it's not gonna. It wouldn't work under because you're really having to reach for it, and it's gonna take way too long. You're gonna get into a weird position. So it does just goes over on this one. I guess because it's coming high, and then let's think under for the other one because it's coming low. So on 8, let's see if it's under. If I just told you the hell wrong. Yeah. It was over my forearm, just under his.
Okay, over yours. Okay.
Yeah, I could get under mine if I really tried. That might be more correct. But my arm's already here. My hand's here. The stick goes under. I'm just feeding right in. So I'm just sliding from where I am. Then I would have to let go and reach under and have it farther. I guess it.
They both work.
Yeah, it's more. It's a little harder to get into that way because I have to fish around my own stick a little bit. Like it is a little more solid. Yeah, let's say it's technically under there, but that's not necessarily how I do it. Okay. And then 9 and 10 are the throws. So again, this is the way that this is a lot different than the these are all just basically disarms or locks. It's the same kind of concept as the disarming set. The big difference is there's a lot of these steps in this one. So that's what makes it harder really to figure out is not do that one twice too, because that's a weird one. Number 9, stepping up towards him diagonally this way, like in 1 steps. This is already enough to do something. So again, I'm not just placing this here, and then this is also this is a fulcrum. So the stick is touching my body when I'm doing the throw. That's at the same time, really. There's the stick is still attached to me, so there's this. When you hit, you're going there, and then, so that would already probably be enough to tip them back. But then you're kicking their leg out from under to make sure it works. Okay, and again, we'll do these a lot, so don't worry about figuring it out now. Okay, again, this one's a throw, so it has special footwork. So here's a regular block. There's our punio into the wrist, and just pressure on the elbow. And then again, if they're just standing here, it's not going to do anything. It's once you get the pressure on the elbow, and there you can see how his head goes from over the hips to down. That's when you do the throwing. Again, I'm not going to do it to lead because it involves whipping them around. But if I had, Nina doesn't like it either, so I guess I can't. I don't have anybody. If I had Mike or Glenn here, though, yeah, you come in and you go, whip! And they go, and you spin them into the ground. Right?
Look forward to learning that when I see you in your new studio.
Yeah. So yeah, once we have room to throw people around. But yeah, again, it's not an easy takedown for them. So that's why we're being really careful. But yeah, you're doing a spiral step that makes them kind of spin and grind down. One more time, yeah. So from a regular block position here, first thing you do is go and take them into an arm lock. And again, if there's someone who is really big and stable, maybe you're not going to be able to get them to move, you just go into the arm lock and then you're done. Because then you just kick them in the knee, you knee them in the face, and you don't try to do something fancy from there if they're too big or strong. But I'm just being careful so I don't end up yanking on these ribs and shoulders and stuff. That's why we're not doing the takedowns, and same for Nina, really. But yeah, so it could be done in place because maybe you can't turn them. So there's the arm lock is not pushing the elbow that way, pushing it down. So you gotta, if their elbow joint is sticking out this way, you start by pushing it that way to close it, but then your pressure needs to be downward because their head's gonna react to it, right? If you're just kind of pushing this way, they're gonna go that way.
Oh, I see.
You want their head to come down towards their waist. The closer you get their head to their belt, the easier it's gonna be when you do the spiral step for them to be forced into following it, because they're wherever their arm goes, the head is trying to compensate for it.
Gotcha.
11, back to an easy one. We would just go for a pressure point here. So we go block and check, a strike to the back of the neck. Hopefully will already be enough time to stun them. Then you push your thumbnails into anywhere on the jawline. There's just pressure points all along the jawline there, more right up into the back of the ears. And again, this if they don't have a lot of response, where they just move right back in pain from it, where you might push them back or whatever, you might knee from here, or you probably push them back, or even do the same sweep we did before. Again, this isn't in the drill is just this move. But how would you continue it? Boom, that same sweep we did before, kicking up his leg, and he'll flop right over, But again, a lot of times if you get him to tip up and back, it'll just be a push. You're just pushing him and running away. Okay, and then 12 is the shoulder lock, so that's probably the most complicated one. Downward diagonal slash and butt strike gets you in very close. Go over his arm and then under it. So it's a snake over his elbow and to his wrist here, and preferably under the puño. You don't want to catch his stick here where you might disarm him, and then his arm's going to snap right off of there. You want to stick his hand onto the stick so you can use his puño and he can't let go of it. So I've got my thumb is on his fingers here, so it's jammed there, and and the puño is, now I'm using the puño to hook his wrist.
Oh, crazy.
And then again, I would be lifting this to shoulder height. This would be going to there, which would break all.
Oh,
right,
okay.
all this, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I just want to crank
That'll
it.
work.
But it goes up. The elbow comes up to shoulder height.
Okay.
You do it. It winds up like that. And then they go, ah. But yeah, I just want to be careful. And same for Nina. Her shoulders are kind of fragile, so I don't want to crank on her either. But yeah, you get the idea. Okay, let's try it in the air. Same thing. And see if that makes more sense now. And we can always grab lead back in. Okay, here we go. Let's stick with right lead. Number 1. Block check. Armpit. Palm up. Pressure on the bicep and the back. Bicep lock. Once you get your booklet, this has all the names of each of the locks, just like it would have the name of the disarms, it has the names of each of the locks, and that's part of the drill. Is once you learn the words, the names of each of the locks, it'll make more sense, because okay, now I'm doing this one, the next one is this one, the last one is this one. You'll know what they are, as opposed to just whatever I'm talking, the whole 5 minutes of me talking about it. You have to be able to condense it down into just what are we doing. We're not necessarily, you don't have to think. Step forward to a right lead, block with the stick, check with the hand, turn forward, immediate strike in, rotate back, lift the palm, rotate in, hook the arm, push down with the arm, lift up, push into the arm, push into the back. Maybe take a little adjustment step because I was too far away. You'll just say, okay, I'm doing that bicep lock. That's the one where we do that. And you want to get into that. But I know you don't have the booklet yet, so that'll help when you get it. Okay, number 2. This is neck something. Puño to neck. Okay, 3 is almost the same as 1. We step into our right lead and block and check, do a low strike, but this time instead of coming up into the armpit, we snake out and pull the elbow in. Once the elbow starts to pull in, we put the tip right on their neck, and that's our elbow lock. 4, block and check. 2 and 4 are almost the same. You take a big step in after your block, you take a big step in with your front leg, your back leg slides up so you stay in the same proportion, left leg boxing stance, and behind their, across their side with your stick, and then squeeze it in. Okay. 5 is a sweep or kind of a throw, but more of a trip, I guess I'd say. 5 is a trip. We wing block and check. Our attack is a closed downward diagonal slash. A straight thrust goes between the legs to set up the lock on the hip. So before we've done all arm locks, and upper body locks. We did a rib cage and neck on this side. We did the bicep and the elbow on 1 and 3. Now it's our first one going for the legs. So after we do the thrust, we need to take a big step into a left lead. And we're putting pressure right on the front of the joint here. So where the thigh goes into the abdomen, in the crease there, that's where we want the pressure of the top of the stick. So it should collapse their hip. So again, you're not trying to like sweep their legs like we do in some of the kicks, or like it kind of looks like you're doing like by forcing the legs apart. You're just using the back, this part of the stick, on the back of their leg for pressure. Because if it's in the front, you would just be punching them in the hip. That's not enough. You're snaking it back there for that pressure. So from the thrust, gets way in there, hooks the back of the leg, so you can force on the front of the hip and collapse it. Hopefully they'll fall in like that.
Can you use it as an upward strike to the groin and then
Probably, yeah. Yeah, while you're there.
cane too and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if they do that for safety that we don't hit the groin, but they just say you're going for the thigh, but yeah, it could be that deer.
You're right in there.
Okay. 6. Block and check, this can be either way. No.
6 is the other side.
Closed. 6. Yep. Catch.
Five?
6.
Oh, I'm sorry.
5.
Fault.
6. So 2 was here. 4 is here. 6 is here. Okay. So Lee comes at us, and he does 1. Three. And 5. Okay.
Oh, that's helpful. I like seeing it that way. 1, 2, 5.
So you can see how they kind of line up. Okay. 2. Four.
4.
And 6. Close strike. Same thing. The little shuffle step in to his side. All 3 of those. Okay. So that's 1 through 6. Okay. Now working on the other half.
Okay.
Number 7 is again the same, almost the same lock, same type lock as we did on the X to the neck. Now we're doing an X to the wrist. Block and check. Hip goes over. Arm reaches up from under. And sometimes we go down to the knee. Sometimes we pull back like a back stance. Either way, so you're dropping lower or farther back. So if they're in a good position like this, you make their wrist stuck and hurt, then you go away or you go down and their wrist goes wherever you go, right? So that's how it works. So right here, they're still in a strong position. You know, he's kind of fine there, but if I go a little farther back, if I go a little farther down, it's worse, right? So hook is over the stick arm, lock is under the stick arm. Okay, 9. Lock and check. Post it on your body. Punch into their upper chest. So fist is hitting them in the upper chest. Again, this is still the tip of your stick. This is definitely not a sword. You're not we're gonna die together. I'm gonna punch you in the chest and stab myself. So this is just braced on your body because it's gonna give you this fulcrum here. So it's both hitting and pushing with the middle of the stick. So this is one of those rare times you're using two things at the same time, the punch and the middle of the stick to push them back with. And again, then the big part of the takedown is that you're kicking their leg up in the air by kicking your leg backwards. Yeah, so that's called a reaping throw or a backward sweep. So a lot of times we're sweeping, kicking forwards with that kind of motion. This is a same exact idea. We're just we're in an opposite position, so we're kicking backwards instead. Okay, again, let's do that one a couple times. Here we go. Number 9, block, step, brace your stick, knee up like you're about to throw a front kick, and kick back through. So their legs should come flying up, and they would tip backwards. Number 10, also a throw. So we block and check, hook the wrist, elbow lock, back leg does a spiral, and again, if you do it for hard and real, they'll come tumbling around. Okay, we'll come back to that. And 11 and 12. Roof block, Wittick, thumb pressure. And 12. Let's go wing block, downward diagonal. Step in with the butt strike, very close. Hook the elbow like a number 3, but go right over it and up to the wrist. Again, you're not digging around the wrist, you're just resting on the side of the wrist because their punyo crosses the stick. So you're holding their hand so it doesn't come out of place. And again, with Lee, I'm just kind of moving like this because that's enough, it's already locked. But you're going to bring the punyo higher than the tip. So it comes all the way up and they end up going way, I guess so they'll end up, if they're here, and Lee comes at me, he's going to do a downward diagonal, he's going to butt strike.
Oh, I thought it was attacking you. Sorry.
He's going to come over and into here, so you can see how we are. And then he's going to bring his punyo higher than his tip. So you can see how I'm still doing fine here until he goes.
Oh, like that. So I get that, so I'll get there again, so block. And here. All right? Backwards. Shit.
Okay, well, we'll keep working on it. But anyway, you can see. So if I'm the bad guy, here's the strike. He would go zhook, boink, hook here, over to here, and then again, I'm only taking him about this far. This is enough. But if he really cranks it, you can see how my elbow comes up to shoulder height, which is what you want, which is where it starts hurting for real. Or I'm just being nice. So you can see how when he's he got me all the way up to there. So that's what we want. Okay, let's do those in a sequence with leaving the attacker. So we did 1 through 6 a few times. Let's go 7, 9, and 11 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have them memorized, so I'll need some clues.
Okay, let's start with number 7. That what's that? Who knows? Choke. Yeah. So 7 and 8 are the same. So we've got our front stance block, open strike, to the back of the neck or open wittek. Grab it with your forearm, the grabbing forearm crosses over the stick forearm, and then the elbows pull apart. You can see what happens here very easily with the visualization of when you start the lock, you hit them in the back of the neck, your forearm is in this position, and when you grab it, you can just do this in the air. You can see the hole that you have between your forearms and the stick. So how large the triangle is what we're looking at. And then if you quickly pull your forearms just a little bit apart, you can see how that flattens that triangle. So their neck fits in this triangle, and then you go like that. So you are squishing their neck to half the size it was. That's why this choke works fast. And again, that's why we're careful with the partner, because you're just crushing stuff with a stick. I mean, you can knock somebody out with this in a few seconds.
Which is what you want, because both our hands are free.
Yeah. So they do have weapons available. Yeah, and technically this one has the spiral throw as well. Again, I wouldn't do this with Lee or Nina. But he's kind of reaching forward. He's in a bigger stance. So he's trying to get me in the knee. So I've already got that little advantage that he's forward. But from here, again, you can go bent knee down, right? You could go like knee to the groin and push back. But the actual throw from here is a spiral step. So as soon as the lock's in, this leg kicks to here. So my hips go like this, and his neck goes like that with me.
Oh, awful.
So so the move is actually 1, 2. So their head goes and gets swung around really hard.
So you can do a variety of things, because you can just step backwards too, right? Or control.
So again, this drill is just about finding the locks, learning where they are, getting good at them. So this is the move we're going for. Yeah, but realistically, you would either spiral step for the big throw, or boom! Yeah, just drop straight down in there and take their head with you.
It's like an oxen and a yoke. Do they get the joke? Okay.
Okay, let's do 7, 9.
9
Step right up to his foot. Contact with the middle of the stick on his chest. So some teachers will say the punch is more important. I think it's the stick across the chest for sure. That's giving you a lot of surface area to really push him back with. And again, this is a big sweeping kick here.
Is the end of your stick pried into your chest too?
I don't feel like I'm getting a really good position for that for whatever reason, but I think it is. That this is making contact here, so it doesn't flip. Yeah, so it doesn't pop out.
Okay.
And then 11 on that side. Roof block behind the neck, and we're going for that pressure here. Again, that's the step. We stop at the lock on these, but what would you do? Big push forward or drag him down into something worse, right? So it's a way to get them to freeze. A lock is meant to get them to be stuck for a second. Usually you have to go from the lock into something else to really finish, but we're working on the locks in this drill. So it's zoom.
Do it to me again.
Okay.
You don't have to apply it. I just want to see where they go. Okay.
Okay, let's do 8, 10, and 12.
10 and 12. 8.
Block and check. You could think of this as a hit across the leg that comes over the top, right? It could be like a song Kitty, but generally it's just trying to quick get into position. You could think of it either way. I'm definitely going under his hand here, and if I have time and body position, going under everything, going under my own arm here, even better. And again, then lowering or shifting back into a back stance is going to really make it hurt more, throw him more off balance. So that's a really good one. Okay, and then a backhand high thrust, block and check. Elbow lock, spiral step into that throw. Okay, and last one, 12. Wing block or emergency block. Step in, downward diagonal, butt strike. The butt strike is right under their arm, so that's how to remember where you're trying to get under their shoulder. So the two hits are just setting up, getting in and under the shoulder. Hook the elbow, right away go up for the side of the wrist, under their puño. And again, I'm just giving a little pull here because I have to be careful, but you are rotating that up to shoulder height and cranking on it. And again, then once you're here, you can let go usually with one hand and use the other hand for striking.
Oh. Nice.
You can dig that into their side. So there's all these different. So once it's, as soon as that shoulder lock is on, you have more options moving around. Whether that's realistic or not, if you were really fighting back, you know, maybe not. But it's a neat lock, and it's a very intense lock. All right, that one definitely hurts. Okay, let's.